Hello again. Well, maths education up to age 7 may seem a really unusual topic for a Facebook Live during an election campaign, but as people in Copeland who know me will know, it's what I'm really passionate about, and I will take any opportunity to make sure that all our kids in Copeland thrive with their maths and really love it. But first things first. Having completely failed with props last night, we've got lots more props today, and hopefully this will read the correct way round this time. So, the asks are, please, 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 can you like this page so you can find me again? Like the page Hanson for Copeland. Click on like, and then when you want to find this again, you can. Please also share this video. Click on share so that other people can see it too. They can always switch it off, but let's give them the chance to see their candidate and to, have that chance to ask me questions live, please. If you could do that, I'd be really, really grateful. And the third one is, if you've got friends, particular Facebook friends that you think would like to see this and have the chance to interact with me, on my page, if you type in their names, then you can flag them up and they'll get a cue to like this page and see it too. And then please follow me on Twitter. And the Liberal Democrats run on volunteers and volunteer donations. We are not funded by big donors. We are not funded by unions. It's up to us. All MPs, all councillors who get paid give 10% of their income, but it's not enough to run by-elections like this. We need your help. If you'd like to deliver leaflets, if you'd like to help in any way, you can find out how to volunteer here at www.rebeccahanson.org.uk. If you can donate any money, we would really, really value that. Please go there and donate. And most liberating thing of all, please consider joining the party. You can find out how to do that there too. rebeccahanson.org.uk. Thank you. Other thing about these Facebook Lives, I would love to do Copeland themes. I'd like to involve people here who would like to talk about issues that affect them. If you've got an issue you'd like to talk about, or maybe you run a project, and take anything really. If you'd like to get yourself some publicity, some airtime, and come and chat to me, especially if your project interacts with national issues, if there's someone at the Howgill Centre or something like that, then I would love you to come and talk to me, but because obviously you're highly influenced by national agendas and government policy, and you're doing amazing work, and there are lots of similar groups who may like to come and chat in real time. That'd be great to do. We're going to try and do Facebook Live every day. I don't know if we'll quite manage it, but we'll do our best, and hopefully we'll even work towards having some national guests and even a programme of when we're going to go live. But it's chaos at the minute. It's really hard to build our agenda. We've been invited to loads and loads of hustings, and we've said yes to them all, but they don't seem to be, nobody seems to be tying down dates yet, which is a shame, because then we could start to build a schedule. Anyway, kids thriving with maths. I'm a maths education advisor. I go into school and train teachers how to teach the primary maths curriculum really effectively. But tonight's not about that. Tonight is about ordinary people working with their own kids or their friends' kids or their grandkids or whatever, and how you can make sure that your kids love their maths and thrive with it. So let's begin at the beginning with the preschool stuff. There's all sorts of things that young kids do very naturally, little games, 5 little speckled frogs and all that kind of games, that the songs that they do at playgroup, that's all really good. If you're getting them to copy rhythms, banging in a 3 and getting them to copy it, even though you're not necessarily yet counting to 3, if there's sort of banging and get them to copy with a different movement, that's wiring their brain up for number. What else? Best thing with my kids, if I need them to be ready for something or they're running out of time, is to do a countdown. So they get used to those numbers counting down. Happens all the time. And as very small kids, if they didn't get ready in time, and of course if they were really getting ready, then the countdown slowed down, because the point wasn't to catch them out, just messing around, then there would be some kind of explosion and an enormous tickling event and a bit of scare laughter and all that, just so they get the sense that actually they do want to work with this countdown. But it's an incredibly powerful thing for number. So the first thing I want to talk about is what kids need to know when they are 4 years old. They need to know this really by the end of the first term of reception class, otherwise they're going to miss out on an awful lot. I don't have any questions coming through yet, by the way. Remember, I'm to take questions on anything. If you've got any questions about young kids and education, that's great, but I will take any questions. So one of the things that parents and sometimes teachers are not aware of is that some young children do not actually have a concept of what number is. Now that's quite a big idea. It's like, I remember in her fantastic show this Christmas, Dawn French's 3 Million Minutes show, she talked about how when her daughter started a new school where they were doing French, and she had absolutely no idea what was going on in the lesson. She just thought everyone was speaking gobbledygook and had no idea why, because she'd missed the introduction where they explained that they were talking another language. And you just take it for granted that kids have some sense of what number is, and that when you're doing numbers, it's about counting things and about quantity. And most kids most kids get it very young. But young children are real enigmas. They pay attention to different things at different times, and they haven't necessarily got that sense. And so there's so much number work and maths going on in reception class, and for some kids they miss a lot of it because they've just got no idea what number is. So really good test for that as children are turning 4 or as they're starting reception class is just, can you go and get me 2 of that, 2 of something, whatever it is? Can you go and get me 3? Have they got a sense that 2 is 1 in each hand and 3 is 1 in each hand and 1 extra? And just check that they are engaging with you about numbers, because some kids, they can rote count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, but they still don't necessarily know what quantity is and what number is. So what do you do if you've got a kid who has got no sense of number? Well, the first thing is you can put up bags of stuff like pairs of things, get them to link the pairs and have a sense that when they've found the pairs and they're not looking for an extra one. And then you can get bags with 3 forks, 3 clothes pegs, 3 apples, 3 of whatever you can find lying around. It's quite powerful. Then just give them the sense that when they've found the 3 things, they know that they've got 3. One of the most powerful things is to play games with them. If you've got a child who will sit down, and I know not every child will, then here are some examples of some fantastic games. This is the Ladybird game from Orchard Games. Absolute classic. Can't recommend that highly enough. Kids love it from a very young age. What have we got on here? Age 3 to 7. Spotty Dogs is another one. Really similar number concepts in there. Absolutely gorgeous game. A little bit further on from that, sorry, down here, there's another Orchard Games, this bus stop game. Great game. People getting on and off the bus, trying to fill your bus. There's a few more of those. So if you've got a kid who will do that, kids learn so quickly when you're playing games. What's the other key things? Yeah. Oh, right. So what about if you've got a kid who will not sit down and will not play games? Well, you can just get them, just run around the yard 4 times. See if they've got a sense of that and build from there. Do 20 star jumps. Can they do that? Do whatever they do, but add number to it so they're really getting some kind of sense of number, and just check that they know what's going on with number. And if you your child started reception class and they're having a birthday party, maybe you could do some games. And if you just notice that maybe one of the children hasn't got that sense of number, just do a little bit of work with them. Or I would say fantastic things about these games, and I'm not recommending anything expensive. I mean, this $7.99, great birthday present when kids are having their parties in reception class. Absolutely great. We will. You could give them that as a present. Superb. And especially if you notice a child who's struggling with number, one of your kids' friends, because they are going to hold up the class, because they're going to struggle if they haven't got those foundations in place. Another great birthday present. We'll come up with a few of those. So what comes next? Well, another thing I was going to recommend was programs like Numberjacks and Numtums. They're on CBeebies. You can get DVDs or get them on Netflix or whatever, and just mine used to watch them on journeys. We'd have DVD players in the back of the car and just put them on back to back. There's really foundational concepts in number, one more, one less, with small numbers and the other little things they do. They're really good. As your child goes into reception class, they need to know their numbers up to 20. So one of the key things that matters is that they can kind of see them structurally. So if you look at that, you immediately see that it's 6 because you know it's a 5 and a 1 and that's a 6. Children need to see that. They need to, if you're doing 7, subtract 3, you can just see that the answer is 4. You don't actually need to count down one at a time. There's no harm in counting down one at a time. It's a good exercise, but they need to be able to see that too. And you can put your fingers next to your toes for your teen numbers. It's harder for me in this position, obviously, but little kids, fingers go next to their toes easily. So if you've got that next to your toes, then that is 17. And you can start to see 17 subtract 4. That's still next to your toes. If they can see that's a 13, it's a really powerful thing for them to do at a young age. And we are not allowed equipment in SATs exams now, but they are allowed their fingers and toes. And fingers and toes, there's not been a rule yet that they're not allowed them anymore. Fingers and toes, they're so powerful. One of the reasons we think Chinese Eastern maths is so successful is with the soroban and with the abacus. It's in 5s and extras, and if you've got that underlying understanding of the structure of number, you can really, really, really just see maths and get it, which is what some kids do, but we need to teach all kids to be able to see it and get it like that. I don't know where the audience is tonight, Andy. It's still just saying one person watching. It's not been like that on other nights. So I've not got any questions in. So whoever that one person watching is, send me a question. Wonder why it's not picking up. Okay, so moving on from that, what other games, what other fantastic things can we do with our children who are up to 7 years old? Dominoes, brilliant game. Especially if you play it as a tournament, because at the end of it, you've got to, the people who are left with pips who haven't got out need to count their pips, and that's such a powerful thing to do because there's so much sort of recognising number patterns and looking at the numbers that group to make a 10, and so on. In the way you count up the numbers, and then you can keep the score and see who's got the highest score over time. Very powerful thing to do with your kids. I know it can be a nightmare to find time to play with your kids, especially if you've got other young kids, if you're working long hours. It's really stressful in the house. I always struggle to do it. But it's if you've got any grandparents around, any neighbours who just have time and can create that calmer atmosphere. I mean, I found it difficult sometimes to calm my kids down just because I was so busy. But then a grandparent turns up and they just settle quickly and play a game. What else have we got here? This is one of our favourites. This is the Minecraft card game. In order to win this, you have to make 20 points. And the way that you have to think that through, it's really simple. If you don't do Minecraft, don't worry, I don't either. But this is a simple card game to play. Good fun, Really recommend it. Great for your maths. Another pocket money present. Great for kids' birthday parties. Here's another one. This is fantastic to make your kids really, really great at maths. A 10 box of eggs. It shows the fantastic structure of numbers up to 10 in 2 5s, 2 rows of 5s. Great trick with it. I didn't have any eggs handy tonight. But if you just do this, oh no, hang on. I'm not sure I can see if they're going to drop out there. Hang on, try that again. If I pull that down, you just flash that at the child and close the box before they've got time to count the eggs or the cubes individually. Then ask them, shut the box and ask them to tell you how many things there were. There's so much maths going on there, and it's so right for young children in Key Stage 1. You can do different combinations on different nights, and it gets them talking about how they see maths. And if they can express their own thinking, that's an incredibly powerful thing that will get them a long way. So in that case, obviously, it's 6 because it's 5 and a 1. But all sorts of different arrangements, and kids don't always see it the same way that you expect them to see it. Right, going on into year 2. Oh no, sorry, year 1. Year 1, we now have numbers up to 100 in year 1. So your kids, they're very, very young in year 1. They are still only 5. Only conservative politicians thought this was a good idea to put all our concepts down the years. But there they are, numbers up to 100 in year 1. So your child needs piles of stuff to count, piles of pennies, piles of buttons, just to play around at counting. And they will find it difficult at first. They will try and touch count and go 1, 2, 3, and they will not be well coordinated, and they'll count 2 at a time. And they'll make mistakes with their number sequencing, but they need to try and they need to be challenged to do that. So the more piles of stuff, I just need some help to count this. Can you help? Or Teddy Bear desperately needs his whatever's counted. Can you do it for him? And they will, because they're 5 or 6, and it's just what kids of that age do quite naturally. They will have a go. They will see it as playing, and they will really have a go. And it doesn't matter if they get it wrong, just the process of having a go is really powerful. So in year 2 now, they're supposed to be able to do quite a lot of calculation with the numbers up to 100. And this is really good. This is a 1 to 100 bead string. It comes from a company called TTS. TTS, if you Google them online and have a look for the 1 to 100 bead string, then you will find that you can get this delivered to your door for the princely sum. I think mine was about £4.20, including delivery. So again, pocket money stuff, little present stuff. But we are moving children on very fast with their understanding of the numbers up to 100. And in an ideal world, we would do that when they've already got some experience of the numbers up to 100, when they've watched a digital clock churn through its numbers, or they've just learnt to count up to 100, or they've seen scores in video games or scores in other games or whatever. They should really have that exposure before they are trying to learn it in school. But because it's now so young, a lot of them haven't. So they need something to hold on to that really helps them make sense of the numbers up to 100. So we want them to be able to see that 31 is going to be 3 10s and 1. Can they do that? And then if they're doing small calculations, they can move beads around. One of the things they have to do in year 2 is adding and subtracting single-digit numbers from 2-digit numbers, and that's a really crucial skill. If I said to you something like 72 subtract 5, 72 subtract 5, hopefully you'd be able to work out that the answer is 67, but I doubt that you did it by counting down one at a time. I know some people will. 72 subtract 5, most people will do that in about 2 steps. They might do 72 and knock off the 2, and then think, oh well, I've knocked off 2 and I'm trying to subtract 5, I've still got 3 to go. So 70 subtract 3 is 67, or something like that. People do it in different ways. But very few people are counting down one at a time, and they can do the two-step process because they've got a sense of the structure of the numbers. So we have to give our kids that, and then if they are doing 72, which would be here, sorry you can't see all of that very well, 72 subtract 5, they can start to see the 2 going off and the 3 going off and start to invent their own shortcuts. They can work structurally too. In year 2, they also have to do 2, 5 and 10 times tables, and they are beautiful on here. If you're actually counting 10, 20, 30, so they've got a real sense of how big those numbers are. And then, of course, if you're going into your 5 times table, you can actually set that up. And they start to see that every 2 5s is a 10. And they can work structurally with their 5s and fluently. And similarly with the 2s. So this is a really, really useful bit of kit for year 2 kids. If you have one at home, you'll often find that with their homework that your kid will just love it and they'll want to take it into school too. What else? Here is another lovely one for year 2. This is a particular type of top trumps called baby animal top trumps, and it is just so gorgeous. If we just have a look at some of these, what have we got here? Got the baby deer being the fawn, and those categories there, they're probably coming up back to front because I've learnt that text goes back to front in this. Mummy's tummy time, at birth, independence, mischief factor and cuteness factor, and all kids love these. The numbers are great for Key Stage 1, but they've even got some decimal numbers in there. That weight at birth is 1.8 kilos, and you get your year 2s, your Key Stage 1 kids being able to do decimal numbers. I have no idea how, but they just can. Great bit of learning, great bit of fun time at home. So I think everything I've shown you costs under a tenner. I'm not sure about Minecraft card game, might be about that. But there's one that's just slightly over a tenner that I would recommend. Another great thing to buy is this. This is a pizza game. I check out the game rules and just let the kids make pizzas. So we have got, you can put the fractions together. They're unnamed, but on the back they've got the names of the fractions. So they can get a bit familiar with that, get a real sense of what those fractions are. If they start to build pizzas, they'll quickly get insight into the things like, you know, a 1/6 is smaller than a 1/5, which is quite major. They'll start to learn that there are 6/6 in a whole pizza and 5/5 and so on. Major stuff. That a quarter is the same as 2 1/8. They're the same size. You can substitute them. So they get a sense of equivalent fractions. So I'd wanted to leave something useful as a bit of a legacy doing these Facebook Lives. I hope some people find it useful. If this is recorded, I'll publish it. I've no idea why this hasn't built the audience. I hope I haven't recorded it completely the wrong place or something like that, which is probably my next thing. I'm just going to, but there are no questions coming through, so I'm just going to close with the ask again in case you're watching this on record. Please like this page. Please invite your friends to like this page by typing in the box. Please share the video. Please follow me on Twitter and which way? www.rebeccahanson.org.uk. Please volunteer to help. We need help. We are a roots up political party, so that's the way we work. We need donations to fund our leaflets. We would love to do more leaflets. I know some people are disappointed that they haven't had leaflets yet. We want to reach everyone as quickly as we possibly can, ideally several times. We're doing our very best. And join the party. Okay, thanks. Bye for now.